Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel. Peter likes books, because I do. And today is a book review. We're going to get into that in just a second. But this is a book review of the book Lost Girls, which was our May book choice for Peter's book club, which is 1,400 strong. Thank you so much. I do believe it's more like 30 or 40 people that read the books every month, though. So thank you to those out there that are reading the books and participating in the threads on Goodreads and are coming over to the live streams. Now, a lot of people ask, how do you join the book club? The way that you join the book club is you either just watch the videos over here and just say, I'm part of the book club. That's all you have to do. Or you go over to the Goodreads, which is listed below, Peter's book club, and you just join it over there. And you can participate or not participate in the thread. Just, you do what you want. It's just supposed to be for fun, right? And this year we are doing a year of true crime. We have read so many true crimes books. Well, 5. I got my glasses on, I can't do math, but January, February, March, April, May. So we've done 5. And we're on our 6th book right now. We are reading Killer Clown, which is about John Wayne Gacy. This summer, we are doing the Summer of Serial Killers. So we are reading about John Wayne Gacy, and we are reading about, let's see, who else? Son of Sam and the Hillside Strangler. And then we have some exciting books for the fall, but we're not going to announce those yet. We are also, for those of you that want to do a little extra credit for the book club, we are reading Helter Skelter by Vincent Bugliosi, and this is about Charles Manson, everything you would ever want to know. I have this book. Okay, so we're reading this June, July, and August, and then we will be doing the live stream separately after that. This is a separate book from the book club. You don't have to read this if you don't want to. But I've never read it all the way through. I've only made it to like page 51 or 81. So I literally went through here the other night. You guys want to see this? Well, I don't know if you can see, but I went through here and I detailed like how many pages a week I have to read to get this book done by the end of summer. So I have it. So you can go all the way here and you can see, I think it takes me, it's like 13 weeks. Well, this is week 12, so this is the last part, will be the last week. So anyway, yeah, it comes out to something like 40 pages a week or 50 pages a week. It's not much. So I'm going to be reading this all summer long on the front patio where I'll be scared to death probably. So if you want to read this, I'll probably be talking about this in several videos through the summer. I'll do maybe some vlogs about Helter Skelter. I'm really excited about all of this. So yeah, Summer of Serial Killers. I'm also reading a lot of thrillers, a lot of scary books this summer. So I am ready to read. I'm like ready to sit down. I am ready to start reading. Okay. But the book that we read for May was called, oh shoot, I just went out of it. Here it is, Lost Girls. I'll put the cover up for you. Lost Girls, an Unsolved American Mystery by Robert Kolker. And let me read you a little bit. Oh, it doesn't have his information on here. Okay, let me read you a little bit about the book. Award-winning investigative reporter Robert Kolker delivers a humanizing account of the true life search for a serial killer still at large on Long Island and presents the first detailed look at the shadow world of online escorts where making a living is easier than ever and the dangers remain all too real. Lost Girls is a portrait of unsolved murders in an idyllic part of America, of the underside of the internet, and of the secrets we keep without admitting to ourselves that we keep them. Okay, so let me just tell you, I did not finish this book for the live stream, and I said that in the live stream that I hadn't finished it yet. I still had like 2 hours left, I think, of it. And so we talked about it in the live stream. People had things to say. And honestly, that night, now here's what happened with how we even picked this book for the book club, was that it was for the month of May. Mel, who is my co-host of the book club, she really wanted to read something that was about a female serial killer or something to do with women because of it being Mother's Day for the month of May. And we couldn't really find a good book about a female serial killer. We wanted to read something about Eileen Wuornos. Eileen Wuornos actually wrote a book, but it was really hard to find, so we didn't know that everybody else would be able to find it. So we were limited because if we found one thing that was on Amazon, it wouldn't be at the library or it wouldn't be on Audible, and the books that we're picking this year, we're trying to make accessible to everybody, that you can get it at your public library, or you can get it, you know, on Amazon or Thrift Books or Audible or wherever. So that we couldn't do that. So at the last minute, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. And so I went in and I looked at like the best true crime books from the last 5 years or something, or 10 years. And this came up. I don't know who came up with that list. I don't know, but I got a bone to pick with them, okay? Because this book sucked. I gave it 2 stars, and I'll tell you why I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 2 stars, good stars. I gave it 2 stars because I feel like the research alone, the writer, investigator, whatever he is, that he deserves some kind of merit for investigating this book. But as a true crime novel, first of all, it never felt very, I don't know, scary to me. It never felt like I was seeing the true crime of the true crime. And I also thought it was, like, it focused so much attention on the victims, but it didn't really, it wasn't in an honorable way. I don't know if it was just supposed to be honest, because it didn't feel objective to me either. The first half of the book is just talking about all of the girls that are escorts. And so it's about the Long Island serial killer, and who is still at large. And it is about, I think, 5 girls that end up getting murdered by him. Then that's the first, I would say, 60%, honestly, of the book. I mean, I was going to say half, but it's really like 60% of the book is dedicated to their lives and their growing up and their families. And it's interesting. Each of their stories alone is very interesting, and tragic and sad at the same time. I mean, really what he's doing is he's trying to explain how they became escorts and why they made that choice. And so it's very sad. They all of them, you know, to some degree come from families that just had a lot of issues and things like that. So that's like the first 60% of it. Then I would say the last, or the next 20%, would be about the actual crime itself and the people of this town where they found the bodies. And then it's about, you know, the speculation of the people that found it and were involved with it and all this kind of stuff. And he basically points the finger at one person in this book, which is so interesting to me from an objective point of view. He basically points the finger at one person who you can tell that the writer thinks really did the crimes. And that's like the next 20%. And then the last 20% of the book is really about like the family members and their fallout from each other and how these crimes like really affected them and how they dealt with the grief afterwards and things like that. It's a very interesting true crime novel in that it really makes no sense in the direction whatsoever or the outline of it. It's very difficult to follow, at least it was for me. The other thing is this, is that there are so many names in this book that you literally would have to keep like a notebook to keep up with it, and I was so confused, okay? I usually listen to audiobooks at 1.5 as the slowest, two times speed, and I have no problem keeping up with it. I think it's no mystery to anybody that I talk very fast and I hear very fast and I comprehend very fast when I'm listening. So I don't usually have a problem with it. The only books I've really had a difficult time with it is with the Harry Potter books, because the accent is so strong that I slow it down so that I can understand. But other than that, I've never really had a problem with, it's the accent of Jim Dale in the book, which is fantastic to listen to, but really sped up, you miss a lot of words. So I've never really had a problem, okay, until I got to this book, and it's like, Amber did this, Melissa this, Sarah's sister Jo, I mean, it is so many names, and it is like Amber's sister who was so-and-so's daughter, father of, I mean, and it's this. It makes no sense whatsoever. I'm sitting there listening to the story of one person talking about growing up, and she didn't live with her mother and she would go stay with her grandma, and then all of a sudden in the middle, literally in the middle of this thought, he switches to another character, and then you're talking about this person over here, and at the end they start throwing in this, they start talking about Kim. So if you know I'm talking about Kim, I still don't know to this day who Kim is. She's somebody's sister, okay, Amber's sister I think, and then, and it's just, he uses some language I just don't care for in the book, and I know that he's directly quoting what these people are saying, but it's just all over the place. It really doesn't make any sense. He really should have gone in and just done a study of these women, if that's what he's going to do, or he should have just talked about the crime, or he should have just talked something else. I don't know. But the fact that this book is being praised to me is just unbelievable. I cannot believe it. Listen, I wouldn't tell my worst enemy to go read this book, okay? It is so confusing, and it is so, like, I don't get it. The thing is that it feels like, so if you read the book, and then you go in and you research some of the things that have happened, there's there's a person in the book named Sarah, who, they don't find her remains for a long time. In fact, they're not even sure if she is Shannon, Sarah? I think it's Sarah. I'm so confused, y'all, okay? Sarah, I think, hold on a second. Does it say in here? No. See, this book, it baffles me. This book has 3.56 ratings on it. I mean, I just can't believe it's that high. But anyway, Sarah Gilbert. Okay, so they're looking for a body. They don't find her body until the very end. I feel like he sat on this book and waited until that all came out and then published it, because it seems very, very rushed through much of the book. Like, the first part of it is like, you literally feel like you're walking through quicksand, okay, talking about these people, and none of it makes any sense, and its stories are all over the place, and then the crime just seems rushed, like real quick, like that. And it doesn't really make, you're like pacing along, and then all of a sudden it's just like quick. It doesn't make any sense. Now, I will tell you what's interesting to me about this is that Netflix has picked up the options for this and is making this into a movie. Okay, this book. They're filming this, I think, as a docu-series. I don't know. Though it's and there's always crazy side stories to this. So this one woman whose daughter was Sarah, I think her name's Mary Gilbert. I don't know, I'm so lost in the numbers of names anyway, but she starts all these Facebook groups, and then her family's upset with her because her family, they feel like she doesn't give them any time, but she gives these women that she didn't know, who are the mothers and the sisters of the other. It's all talking about how they grieve. She is killed after the book is done. I read this in an article, by her other daughter who was schizophrenic. So it's just like the tragedy, the story just goes on and on and on. I thought it could have been told and done so much better. And that's the thing when you read a lot of true crime books, you know, they're either done in a way that, like, this is why, and I've talked a lot about this book before, this is why, what's it called? I'm thinking of the second part to this, but I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara, which was about the Golden State Killer. That is why that book is so fantastic, because she weaves through the book her story of her life and how she became obsessed with this case and why it meant so much to her. And then she talks in there about Paul Holes too. So then when you go and you read the counterpart to that, which is Paul Holes' Audible exclusive book, Evil Has a Name, it is so phenomenal because he goes in there and you hear the voices of the victims' families and the victims themselves. They talk, and that book is so heavily laden because you already know the story with the case, but then it's told by the victims and the investigators, which is why it really seems like a podcast. You know, those two books are done so incredibly well as true crime. You know, when you read a book like, what's her face? Now I can't think. Anyways, The Stranger Beside, what is that book called? The Ted Bundy book. Why can't I think of it? I'm losing my mind. Anyway, Stranger Beside Me, is that what it's called? I'm looking it up here right now to see. It was the first book that we read this year. Stranger Has No Name. Did I not do, The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule about Ted Bundy. You know, that's why that book was done. I know. But that's why that book was done so well, because it was her story, okay, of Ted Bundy. Even the book that we read by Carrie Rollins about the BTK killer, about her father, although I thought she had a very skewed perception of that man and that serial killer, obviously because it was her father, it was still from her point of view. Does that make sense? You know, when we read what was the book? I can't remember any of these books, you guys. I'm losing my mind. I seriously am. Where is it? I don't even have it in here. When we read, what? Did I not even I didn't do a review of the Truman Capote book, but In Cold Blood, when we read Truman Capote's In Cold Blood, that was told as a true crime story. It was defined and detailed as a true crime story. There was no emotionality to it whatsoever. This book flip-flops so much you don't even know what to think. So, you know, hey, listen, I'm being nice giving it 2 stars. Don't read this book unless you really wait for the Netflix series True Story. And I'm sure this author probably, if he's watching this review, wouldn't be real happy with me, but I just was really confused. I mean, I don't feel like I learned a whole lot about this case, and honest to God, the only reason I finished it was because I know I will watch the Netflix series on it, or documentary, or movie, so I was like, well, I want to finish the book and watch it, but by the end, I was so confused. My husband and I were coming back from Kentucky the other day, and he was in the car, and I was listening to it, and it came to the end, and it's like, if you ever listen to an audiobook, at the end of it on Audible, it was like, thank you for listening to this. I was like, I said out loud, I said, I have never been so happy to finish a book in my life. So anyway, if you guys read it or if you finished it, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I am ready to move into June and to move into some new books, and I'm so excited for the summer of serial killers, aren't you? I mean, come on, what else would you want to read in the summer? It's so exciting, isn't it? Sitting out on your front porch in the middle of the night and reading about serial killers? Oh my God. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.